everyone. Welcome back to Unsolicited Film Reviews and happy holidays. I'm Zach Miller, and as always, is my partner Martin Cook. And while we are dressed in holiday gear, more or less,
Sort of.
we're not talking Christmas movies today. We're going to be reviewing our respective top 10 movies of the year, and we haven't revealed each of our lists to each other yet, so I'm sure some of these will line up. So it might not be 20 movies. I'm sure it's not going to be 20 movies. I know some of
Yeah, I
ours are
know.
going to
I'm sure there's
lie.
going to be some overlap.
But first off, we have to acknowledge the death of Rob Reiner.
Yeah, I'm gonna take
And
my hat off just because it's gonna
yeah,
my head's
yeah,
gonna
me
be
too.
warm.
Yeah.
Seems
Um,
like a good time.
we're not going to do a tribute to him like we have done in the past with the likes of Diane Keaton and others, just because of the
Redford.
Redbird, and just because of the grisly nature of this case and it's still going on. And we feel like even if we did it next week or the week after, it'd be too fresh. And now's the time to mourn him, not really celebrate his life. So we'll get to him sometime in the next couple of episodes, but it's just too tragic to talk about it with any kind of joy or
Yeah,
like celebrating anything right now. So
yeah. Just as you said, yeah, just sadness and shock at the at what happened, but just another absolute legend. Somebody is amazing. I mean, he's one of these guys. It's hard to pick a favorite movie. He had so many good and very varied movies, like Princess Bride, A Few Good Men, like so many different movies. But yeah, we'll get into that when it seems more appropriate, as you say.
right. So with that, as always, we're gonna get right into the box office report. Martin, take it away. What happened last week?
So last week was not quite as big as the previous weeks. There weren't any really big new movies that came out last week. So a lot of the top five was all, or most of it was holdovers, starting with Zootopia 2, which brought in another 25.8 million on the weekend. And as predicted, it is now zoomed past the $1 billion mark worldwide. It's at 1.15 billion, becoming the second biggest movie of the year by far after that Chinese movie Na J 2 that I mentioned, that basically very few people in North America have seen. So yeah, Zootopia 2 has been a really big hit. In second place, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, another sequel, another 19.4 million on the weekend, pretty respectable 184.6 million worldwide. Wicked for Good coming in third place, 8.5 million on the weekend. It's now at about 474 million worldwide. And while its opening was bigger than the first movie, than Wicked, the original made 758 million worldwide, and it doesn't seem like Wicked for Good is going to approach that. So probably a bit of a disappointment, even though it's still, it's still making money for them. It's not a loser or anything. In fourth place, interestingly enough, a movie called Durandar, which made 3.5 million on the weekend. And now this is an Indian movie that, from what I understand, it's pretty nationalist in theme and in the
Hmm.
story. And it's got about 11.5 million worldwide so far, but that's probably because Box Office Mojo doesn't have any data on it from India yet. So
Oh,
I'm sure it's made way more than that. And once Box Office Mojo gets their numbers updated, it'll bump up there quite a bit. And in fourth place, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, still holding on, still making some money, another 2.5 million. It's up, again, pretty respectable, 214 million worldwide. So pretty solid accounting for the Now You See Me, the third movie in the Now You See Me franchise.
was that all five?
That was five. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. I thought you
Utopia,
said.
Five Nights at Freddy's, Wicked for Good, Durandar, and Now You See Me. Now
Oh,
You Don't.
okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have an onslaught of wide releases this week.
Mm.
So this is a record for our box office report. We have seven wide releases this week.
Holy shit. And they're probably all going to get drowned out by one very big one.
So, of course, we have Avatar, Fire and Ash, the third installment of the widely successful yet very bad Avatar series. To be fair,
This one surprisingly seems to be getting good reviews. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, to be fair to Jim Cameron, I've only seen the first one, and that was only
yeah.
once, and I was just over it at that point. So, I mean, so anyway, next up we have David. It's a Angel Studios joint. It's a musical about the story of David, from David and Goliath all the way up to being King David. Then we have another uh, animated one, the SpongeBob movie, The Search for SquarePants. So that's two competing movies, obviously. And then we have Song Sung Blue, which I had just heard of today. It's about it has Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson, and they're like cover artists. And I saw the trailer today, and it looks pretty bad.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer for this a bunch of times actually over the last couple of months, and I'm not quite sure what to make of it. Yeah, it's a movie about Neil Diamond cover artist, which just seems
Hmm.
like an odd topic, but who knows? Maybe it's
Yeah.
good.
Then we have The Housemaid with Amanda Seyfried and Sydney Sweeney. Of course, Sydney Sweeney is like one of the it girls of Hollywood, so we'll see if she can carry that movie. But other than that, it just seems like kind of run of the mill, like erotic thriller kind of thing.
Yeah, hand that rocks the cradle type thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we have Marty Supreme, who Timothy Chalamet can't stop praising himself over. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. That is not the way to win an Oscar, my friend. Anyway, then the seventh is Anaconda, which is not a remake. It's a it's a reboot, I guess, not a remake of
Yeah.
the 1998, I think, classic classic with John Voight and Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube, but it's got Jack Black and Paul Rudd and Steve Zahn and Tandy Newton. So it should be entertaining. It should be good fun. I'm not going to go see it in theaters, but if it comes out
Yeah,
on
it
streaming,
seems like it's very slapstick and maybe
yeah.
sort of a spoof of Anaconda type movies.
Yeah, so that's seven wide releases, a lot of competition, but there's definitely something for everyone out there. So if you can, go out and support your local theater chain. So, as we stated at
For
the
as long
beginning,
as they last.
yeah,
With the news
seriously.
out of Hollywood these days.
Yeah, because it looks like Netflix is back in pole position to take over and take over Warner
Warner
Brothers. So
Brothers.
yeah,
Yeah.
that back and forth has been crazy. Anyway, we're not going to get that deep into it because we discussed it at length last week. So we're just gonna do our favorite movies, not necessarily the things we think were the best, like the most like the greatest pieces of film, cinematic entertainment, or anything like that. So we're just gonna go through
Oh,
uh 10 apiece of our favorite movies. And like I said, there's gonna be some overlap. But Martin, you want to kick us off with your number 10?
sure. I did actually pick what I think are the 10 best.
Oh,
Although
okay.
again, this is, this is art essentially. And so how do you rank these? How do you judge what's the best? Inherently, this is a bit of a fool's errand. There obviously this also isn't exhaustive. There are a few I haven't seen. I haven't seen Marty Supreme, which people are talking about, not just Chalamet, I guess. The Josh Safdie one. There's one by with Will Arnett called "Is This Thing On?" that apparently has been getting good advanced reviews. So there's a couple that I haven't seen, but I'm pretty happy with my 10. I think overall it was a pretty good year for movies. There were a bunch that I considered and some that I quite enjoyed that didn't even make my list. So overall, not a bad year in movies. And my number 10 is Friendship, The Power of Friendship. This is an A24 movie, and four of my 10 movies this year are actually A24 movies. So
Mm.
we've already talked about how much we like that production company slash little indie studio. And man, it showed this year. This movie was right up my alley. It's Tim Robinson, stars Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd, Kate Mara. And for anybody who doesn't know Tim Robinson from some of his sketch comedy things, he's just absolutely awkward and weird and fucking hilarious. The movie was written and directed though by Andrew DeYoung. Like it really seems like it's a Tim Robinson, an extended Tim Robinson sketch. So maybe a lot of it was improv. Although Andrew DeYoung obviously gets Tim Robinson's humor because he's currently an executive producer and has directed a few episodes of The Chair Company, the HBO
Mm.
series that's starring Tim Robinson right now. This movie is just, without getting too much, it's basically about a friendship between Tim Robinson's character and Paul Rudd's character, and it just gets very awkward and weird. It's really funny, but it also has something to say about adult friendships, I found, and and just really interesting about what relationships are like once you grow up and you start people go off and they have lives and families and are in the real world. And so I thought it was, it's offbeat and hilarious, but it's also kind of poignant in moments. So I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, it's almost like a companion piece to I Love You Man, which Paul Rudd was also in with Jason
Yeah,
Segel.
yeah, kind of.
Except I think I Love You Man was more like mainstream and kind of glossed over, whereas Friendship just really like digs deep into the like I mean yeah, between Tim Robinson and Nathan Fielder, they're like the kings of just awkward cringe comedy where like
Yeah.
like you're laughing your ass off, but at the same time you're like retreating into your
Yeah,
seat,
yeah.
your skin's crawling at the same time. So yeah, it's just yeah, that was a really funny movie. But yeah, it's also very poignant, as you said. So my number 10 is F1, also known
Okay.
as F1 the movie. It wasn't a great film by any means, but I've gotten into Formula One a lot over the past couple of years, as many Americans have with their expansive marketing strategy and Drive to Survive, the documentary on Netflix and all that stuff. And uh, it's a Jerry Bruckheimer produced thing. It's like all actions. If you saw it in Dolby, you were blown away by just the sound and the images. Uh, Acting wasn't fantastic, and hardcore F1 fans will probably be disappointed by it just because the plot is so unrealistic and
Yeah.
the tactics wouldn't actually work in F1. But if you're just like a casual fan or if you're just complete newcomer, then it's perfect for you. And no, Brad Pitt was his usual charismatic self. Jameson Idris, who I'd never heard of before, acquitted himself very well. Kerry Condon was great. Tobias Menzies was really good, and Javier Bardem. And can't go wrong with that. It was great. It was just a great quality summer popcorn movie.
Yeah, I've heard some of the criticism from F1 hardcore F1 fans about the tactics and oh yeah. So I've heard some of that. But I'm not I've watched some car racing here and there, but I'm not a super duper fan. So that stuff didn't really bother me too much. And you're right. I just thought the filming of it was just really pretty impressive. The way some of those shots of the cars and the motion, and you really felt the tension in the driving, and that's part of what makes, as you say, a good summer blockbuster movie. And I thought Kerry Condon was pretty good as kind of like the heart of the movie. So yeah, I enjoyed F1 for what it's worth. Okay, my number nine is The Smashing Machine. And so what we're gonna do though, I don't know if you have this on your list. Okay, you don't. But for anybody, if one of us has one that somebody else has higher, then we'll save the conversation for the higher number. But you didn't have the Smashing Machine. Okay, so the Smashing Machine is another A24 movie. This was written and directed by Benny Safdie. It was his first feature away from his brother Josh, who's doing Marty Supreme. So one about an MMA fighter, one about a ping pong player. Two very different sports. So it stars Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Emily Blunt, and very few other professional actors. Safdie very deliberately went out and got people who weren't actors to play roles because he really wanted the sort of gritty realism of it, and I thought it really showed. And it's so the movie it's about the life of Mark Kerr, the real life MMA pioneer, And this movie didn't do that well. It actually didn't do well at all. It really bombed in terms of box office, but it didn't really do that well in terms of critics either. I think it just kind of skated by and people forgot about it. I quite liked it though. And the reason why I liked it is that it took me a while. I've mentioned this before, but it took me a little while as I'm watching it to kind of figure out what it's about. Because at first you're thinking, okay, this is going to be about this MMA fighter and he's leading up to, the big championship and he's going to get the belt. And it's one of those kind of movies. And it's not that kind of movie. And then you're thinking, okay, well, maybe it's a movie about his relationship with his wife. And that's part of it, but that's not really the movie. And then you're thinking, oh, maybe it's about a guy who gets addicted to painkillers because that also happens. But again, that's not really the substance of the movie. What it really is kind of about is just about this very interesting character who meshes the sort of the brutality of the sport with this innate kindness and soft-spokenness and him trying to figure out what his place in the world is. Early in the movie, they keep talking about how he's like, winning is basically the only thing. That's the one thing that matters to him is like winning these fights. And obviously, MMA fighters have pretty short lifespans in terms of the time they're on top. That can't be your life forever. So what is your life? And so that's what the movie is about. It's kind of him trying to figure out and come to peace with himself in the world. And once I realized that that's what the movie was, it really kind of resonated with me, and I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah, that's a perfect summary of the entire message of the film, and like what we talked about The Rock's performance last week in our favorite performances of the year last week. But yeah, and I also said that I listened to a 3 hour interview with Mark Kerr
Yeah.
and Joe Rogan, and yeah, that's kind of what his life's been about too, and it's such an interesting take on a sports movie because there always is that, like, okay, gotta get, like as you said, gotta get the championship, or it's a rise and fall, or it's just like a downward spiral, like
Mhm.
the like the wrestler, for instance, with Mickey Rourke. And so yeah, it's not Rocky, it's not the wrestler, it's something completely different that we haven't really seen before, and it is a shame that it hasn't had more critical or box office success. But with the Rock's Golden Globe nomination, that tends to get people to at least start watching more streaming,
Right.
at least. So, and that goes back to our discussion last week about the theater experience and word of mouth, and how things can gain traction not just through being a major studio release and or things like that. But yeah, I really really like the Smashing Machine more than I thought I would. Like I
Mhm.
thought The Rock would do okay just because of the early reports and the fact that he's willing to kind of use the prosthetics and the makeup and everything to transform into a different character, because he is so well known for just being him.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, and Emily Blunt was just fucking incredible.
Yes. Yeah, she was.
So my number nine is probably going to surprise a lot of people. It's the King of Kings.
Oh, okay.
And we discussed this at length during April's Easter slash Christianity special, movies about Christianity.
Yeah.
And I was a much bigger fan of this than Martin was, and it's just it's the story of Jesus, and it's animated. It's from Angel Studios. The voice cast is great because it has Kenneth Branagh, Uma Thurman, Mark Hamill, Pierce Brosnan, Forrest Whitaker, Ben Kingsley, Oscar Isaac is Jesus. So great voice cast top to bottom. And my favorite part of the whole thing, though, is that it has like this original frame story where Charles Dickens is telling his son the story of Jesus. And I know that was like one of your least favorite parts of the movie as well. So I don't know. It just kind of moved me in a way that not a lot of Jesus stories do, because it was just about a father and his son and trying to connect through the story of the New Testament. So yeah, I don't have that much more to say about it, but it was I watched it with my family over because it's like a week ago, because we're watching Christmas movies and Jesus movies and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So it just kind of reignited. I was like, oh yeah, I really did like this movie. So
Okay. Yeah, I honestly haven't really thought about this since we did our Easter special, so I don't have too much to add. You're right. I did actually find the framing mechanism a little I don't know if clunky is quite the right word, but it didn't work for me the way it did for you because I found it kind of took me out of the actual story, just this little kid running around the stage and Dickens trying to find him and stuff. But I can see in terms of some of the other aspects why you liked it. It's just, yeah, different strokes.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough.
My number eight, coming up now to number eight, is Wake Up Dead Man.
Mm.
Is the third Knives Out mystery from Ryan Johnson. It stars about 1 million people, as these Knives Out movies do. Obviously, Daniel Craig is back as Benoit Blanc. It's the other kind of main star is Josh O'Connor, who I thought did a fantastic job in this movie. It's also got, Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, a whole bunch of other people. It's a bit more serious than the other two movies. I found especially more serious than the second one.
Mm.
And that's not to say there weren't funny moments. There definitely were funny moments, but it was a little less lighthearted in a way.
Mm.
It was a little heavier, I found, but it really worked for me. And what these movies do really well, as opposed to just in addition to just being clever murder mysteries with a whole interesting cast of characters, is they really just satirically tear into segments of society that Johnson obviously finds ridiculous. And in this case, it's kind of self-professed moral authorities who gain cult-like status amongst their followers by sowing division and creating an us against the world mentality. And
Mm.
so it's really kind of a takedown of those kinds of people, and it's set kind of in a small town with this church and the with this Catholic church, and it's just I just really enjoyed the movie and all the performances, and it's fun, but it's clever, and I love these movies to begin with. I think I'd say this is probably my second favorite of them, after the first one. The first one I think is still the best. And even though I really enjoyed the second one, this I think is nudges above it a little bit.
Mm. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to see this one, and I love the Knives Out series, but it I had like a 2 day release in theaters where I am in Virginia, and it only released like 3 days ago in the United States and on Netflix,
Yeah.
and
Again, Netflix. Yeah.
yeah,
Not
and
much of
then
a release in theaters. Yeah.
I was actually looking forward to going out and seeing this. I didn't realize it was going to be a Netflix exclusive, so
Mm.
yeah, that sucks. But I will watch it, and if you say it's better than Glass Onion was exceedingly entertaining. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I am here for the Benoit Blanc saga. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It just, yeah, didn't work out. So we're at number eight. Yep. Number eight for me is Warfare. It's the latest from Alex Garland, and it was written by an Iraq war veteran, American Iraq Navy SEAL, and it depicts the battle of what was it? The Battle of Ramadi that took place in 2006. And by all accounts, my stepdad was in the army for 20 years, and my stepbrother was also in the army, and so Virginia Beach is like a huge military town. So if anybody I talked to that served says this is one of the most realistic depictions of modern day warfare that has ever been put on screen. Like and seeing in Dolby theater experience, it's still worth something. Seeing in Dolby with the concussive power of the bombs and just the IEDs, the explosions, you can feel every bullet whizzing past you in the theater, and uh ensemble cast with our boy Will Poulter was in the lead, DeFaro Wunatai, Cosmo Jarvis, who we were lukewarm on in Shogun, but did a really good job in this one, Joseph Quinn, Finn Bennett, and another, okay, A24, add that to the list.
Yeah.
So but just, yeah, very very visceral. It makes you feel like you're there, and I don't mean to um trivialize or diminish anybody that was actually there, but of course, it's as close as you can possibly get without actually being there, I guess.
This is a movie that I still haven't seen.
Mm,
I I missed seeing it in theaters, and then I meant to see it when it came out on streaming. And honestly, it totally slipped my mind.
mm,
And it was one that I was looking forward to seeing because the last sort of 15 or 20 minutes of Alex Garland's previous movie, Civil War, I
mm,
thought were very good in terms of modern warfare action. And so I was actually interested to see this. And then honestly, this movie totally slipped my mind. So it's
mm.
what I'm gonna have to put on the list of when I should really go and see soon. My number seven, we're up to number seven now. My number seven is Frankenstein. So
Okay.
this is Guillermo del Toro's vision for the classic Mary Shelley tale. Stars Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, Christoph Waltz, and Mia Goth. Visually, this is a stunning masterpiece, I thought. I mean, some of the shots in this movie were incredible, almost Kubrick-esque in their like every frame a painting quality. And but I also really liked the character examination of both Dr. Frankenstein and the monster. I thought,
Mm.
it's been years and years since I actually read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. But from what I remember, it's much closer to Shelley's book than most of the kind of monster movie adaptations of Frankenstein. And so I really appreciated that. They actually gave us something to dig into in terms of these characters and their personas and what they're going through, especially the Dr. Frankenstein character, but also the monster character as well, and some of his journey as he's becoming more of a fully realized person in a way. And so, you combine the visuals and some interesting storytelling, and I just really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, yeah, you covered a lot of it. Yeah, Oscar Isaac was incredible. Talked about him last week, and
Mhm.
my one of my favorite performances. And I had to leave out Jacob Elordi just because I didn't want to stack every movie with the lead and the supporting actor. But yeah, Jacob Elordi was really really good as well as the monster. And yeah, you're right. I think the one of the more uh true to Mary Shelley's adaptations might have been the De Niro one where he played the monster back in '94, I think it was.
Mm.
But yeah, this took it to a different level because it was really a character study more than a monster movie. So my number seven is One Battle After Another.
I have that a little higher. So
Okay, so we'll save it.
we'll save that
Okay,
discussion, I guess, yeah,
okay,
for
sure.
the higher one. So I guess that takes us to drink time.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna put this back on for drink. Why not? So what we're gonna do today for a drink is a peppermint chocolate martini. And so what you will need, there's a bunch of different kinds of recipes out there for peppermint chocolate martini. I love the little prop there. Um, so so basically, I just kind of adjusted some of them that are out there and made my own based upon, in part, what ingredients might be easier to find and some other things. Some of them are also very fancy and extensive and called for like crushing up candy canes and sprinkling them on and stuff like that. And I just didn't think we wanted to get into that. So,
With
what
that
do you
hat,
need?
it looks like you need like a little a candlestick with a handle on
It totally does.
it.
Yeah. All right, so you need your shaker, your cocktail shaker.
Oh damn, I left my shot glass over on the other table. One second.
Oh, okay. Well, I will talk. Last week you had to talk while I ran down.
Yeah.
So we'll switch it up this week. And so what you're going to need is basically a shot of yeah, so an ounce of vodka. And so it is a martini after all. It's going to be a vodka martini. So an ounce of vodka, a half an ounce of peppermint schnapps or something like that. And I couldn't find actually peppermint schnapps. I found some mint liqueur thing. So I'm going to use that instead. The other thing you can do, if you happen to find peppermint vodka, there is Smirnoff peppermint vodka. I didn't find that, then you just combine it. So you just do an ounce and a half of peppermint vodka, but I'm just doing half an ounce of the peppermint liqueur or peppermint schnapps. Then you're gonna want an ounce and a half of Bailey's. Yes, now Zach got a very fancy chocolate Bailey's with a bow, looking very festive and Christmassy. So I don't know if you got the other ingredients already. So it was an ounce of vodka and half an ounce of peppermint. So
Yep, I can still hear you.
okay. So you pour that stuff in the shaker, and then what you're going to want to do is take your martini glass and just sprinkle a little chocolate syrup on it. Just, you can try to be as fancy as you want. You're going to go like a swirl or something, or just drizzle it down the side. Just basically drizzle some chocolate sauce on it. Shake up your ingredients in the shaker. Again, I always find this funny that the mic drowns out the sound of this, so it's silent when I'm shaking.
Yeah, it's weird. It'd be better if we could hear the audio because it's very ASMR.
Yeah, it's very loud the way where I'm hearing it here, but when I always find when I go back and watch the recording that it doesn't come through at all. And then you just, oh, my chocolate's already drizzled down, but oh well. And then yeah, you just pour it in. Oh, that's close to full.
All right, yeah,
There's your
perfect.
mint chocolate martini.
Also,
Oh yeah, that's very good.
yeah,
Oh,
the
perfect. You did bring in a little candy cane, just not crushed up.
nope.
So yeah,
Wow, that is delicious.
not bad, eh?
That tastes like a York peppermint patty just in a drink. Man, that is dangerous. You do, yeah.
It is very dangerous.
God,
Yeah, I'd be curious to know how much different it tastes with the chocolate Baileys that you got instead of just the regular Baileys that I had. But
it
it's
seriously tastes like a York peppermint patty, just
okay.
liquefied. Liquid. I can't even taste the alcohol, so that is extremely
Oh,
dangerous.
okay, yeah, mine tastes a little less chocolatey, I suppose, but it's still I think it's very
Mm,
good.
God damn.
So now we're
Yeah.
into our top six then.
Yeah, you do not want to serve that at the office Christmas party. Shit will go
Oh
south.
man, yeah, yeah.
Shit
If
will
you
go
make a
south real
whole
fast.
batch of that, it's gonna be office Christmas party. People will be trying to live down for years.
Yep.
Is that right?
All right,
I,
so
I'm surprised actually in our well 10 through 7 that we only had one overlapping one, and that was one battle after another. So
yeah, because I think because I think I went with my favorites and you went with what your best films were,
yeah, exactly.
which
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to save the best films for official award season like Golden Globes,
Oh,
Oscars,
I
stuff
see.
like that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but I mean, makes for interesting conversation. I hope.
Yes.
Okay.
So then I guess we're on to my number six. And my number six is a movie that I've mentioned before. And it was a movie from earlier in the year called Sorry Baby.
Mm,
This was another A24 movie, a very kind of small budget movie. It was written, directed, and starring Ava Victor, who I honestly wasn't that familiar with before this. She's probably best known as an actress for her role in Billions. And this was her feature film debut as a writer and director,
hmm.
and incredibly impressive. It also stars Naomi Ackie, Lucas Hedges, and as I mentioned last week when we were talking about our favorite performances, one incredible scene with John Carroll Lynch. It's a
Mm-hmm.
movie that it jumps around in time a bit in little chapters. So they're not scenes. They're not, it's like, okay, here's this chapter, but jumping around in time. And it's a movie that's all about her dealing with the aftermath of a sexual assault.
Mm,
Having said that, it isn't as dark and heavy as that subject matter might suggest. Like it's very funny at times, it's very witty, but also very insightful into the different ways that people might respond to such an experience. I'm not sure if Ava Victor herself has had that experience, but it sure seemed like she, the movie really knows what it's talking about and how people process and also externalize that kind of thing. And I just thought it
Oh,
was a very, very good movie.
yeah. Once again, one that I haven't been able to see and will look forward to watching. So no opinions on that. So my number six is Zootopia 2.
Oh, shoot. I
Do you
should
have
have
that
put
on
that
yours?
on. I didn't have it on my
Okay.
list. Actually, I
Okay.
probably should have.
So sequel to 2016 Zootopia, same cast of characters plus adding a few. We had Jason Bateman, Jennifer Goodwin, Shakira, Idris Elba, Alan Tudyk, Nate Torrance, blah blah, like just all the way down, and just kind of continues the message of tolerance and acceptance that Zootopia the first introduced. Except this one, not to spoil it, but it's more about gentrification than it
Mm,
is about absolute just straight up racism. So they're finding new ways to to angle into very very relevant modern day issues and politics without coming down on like one like I'm hard right or hard left. It's just just be human. Well, they're not humans, but be people, be human beings. And as you said at the top of the show, it's still raking in the cash, and it still has over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. So very very good sequel, very worthy, and very entertaining, and that's something you can't say about a lot of sequels that come out these days.
agreed. Yeah, I love this movie. Actually, I'm kind of don't know why I forgot to put it on my list. But if you had asked me back in was it 2017, 2018 when the
Hmm.
original came out, the original was definitely one of my top five movies of that year. Full stop. And so I just kind of didn't consider it for some reason. But I also really enjoyed the sequel. And you're right, it's an entertaining animated film that also has a good message. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what Disney used to be all about. So it's good to see
Yeah,
them get back into it. And it's not a musical, so plus for Martin.
exactly. All right, now we're into our top fives, and my top five is the one that you had mentioned earlier, and that's One Battle After Another.
All right.
So I don't know if you want to take it to lead the discussion, or I'll go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I will. So yeah, it's a it's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, and the genres of his movies are always so hard to pin down because they just spread the gamut. I mean, whether you're talking about Boogie Nights or Phantom Thread, there's always a lot of darkness mixed with a lot of humor, and this one is classified. One Battle After Another is at least classified on IMDb as a black comedy action thriller, which isn't really a thing. I mean,
Yeah,
like if you were pitching that to a studio, like, yeah, it's a black comedy action thriller. Like, no, no. But if you have Paul Thomas Anderson's clout, then
yeah,
you're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want.
and apparently you
So
get $130 million budget somehow.
yes, yeah. So it stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Regina Hall, Tiana Taylor, and Chase Infinity, among others. And Leo is a counter-revolutionary, or no, just a regular. Yeah, I ran into this problem last week. He's just a He's just a
Revolutionary,
yeah,
yeah.
just a revolutionary, just like an anarchist, and trying to raise his teenage daughter kind of off the grid, who was played by Chase Infinity, which was another one of my favorite acting performances of the year. And as I said last week, Leo's performance was probably the weakest in this ensemble cast, through not through his fault. It's just
He was still pretty good.
yeah, no, he was good. It's just he wasn't like he wasn't center stage, and he wasn't given a lot of range to work with,
Hmm.
especially in relation to the other actors in the movie, at least. So because everybody else had like these amazing moments, and he was always just kind of frantically
Yeah.
either shooting or just smoking weed off his vape or something like that. But he no, he did a phenomenal job, as he always does. It's just
You're right. His character was kind of in one mode and one speed the whole movie. Yeah.
yeah, he was just kind of outshined by the rest of the cast because they were better characters.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is yeah, as I said, I had this at number five. There's a lot going on in this movie. I mean, it's talking about how kind of revolutions never end, how actions of some people affect the next generation, all that kind of stuff. Ultimately, for me, this is a movie about a father needing to learn how to allow his daughter to choose her own path.
hmm
He's very controlling at first when we first see them in their interaction, and he has to kind of learn to let go, but also know that he's given her the morals, or what counts for morals in that world, um and to allow her to kind of create her own form of rebellion and follow her own path, as I said. And so that's just a very interesting topic, mixed in with all the other craziness, the Hail Saint Nick, and all the other nonsense that's going on there. So yeah, just a very interesting, fun movie.
yeah, there's a lot of wild shit in this movie that just
Yeah,
cannot be explained, especially out of context. So
yeah.
yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about with Hail Saint Nick, then you gotta go watch this goddamn movie. So okay, so
Number
okay,
five.
okay, number okay. So my number five is Dogman.
Okay. Yeah, you really went with favorites.
Yeah, it's a DreamWorks movie, animated based on the graphic novel series by Dave Pilkey. It's the same guy that did the Captain Underpants series, which is also wildly successful, and it has Pete Davidson, Lil Ray Howery, and Isla Fisher with cameos by Ricky Gervais and among others. And this is just so right up my alley because it's about a cop and his dog. They both get blown up, and the nurse is just like, "Well, why don't we just sew the dog's head onto the man's body?" So they do that. It obviously is completely absurd. It's a great romp, and so there's this like expert super cop that but has the personality of a dog. So like he howls, he curls up before he gets into bed, and like he has all the mannerisms of a dog. Like Lil Ray Howery plays the stereotypical angry black police captain, and Dogman's always jumping on him and like licking the inside of his mouth and everything. He's like, inside of my mouth. It's hilarious. So yeah, again, not peak cinema by any means, but just a really really fun movie.
I remember you talking about this one earlier in the year, and this is another one that for whatever reason I just never got around to seeing. So unfortunately, I can't add much to it. But I think I will watch it because it does sound like a lot of fun, and I, like you, am a big fan of dogs. My number four is is it my last? Yes, it is my last A24 movie, and that's Eddington.
Mm.
This is written and directed by Ari Aster. And honestly, I'm kind of hit and miss on Ari Aster movies, but I absolutely love this one. It stars Joaquin Phoenix, Emma Stone, Pedro Pascal, Austin Butler, Michael Ward, Clifton Collins Jr., a whole bunch of people. At first, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go back to the time of the pandemic and sit through a movie set in the pandemic, and that's what this movie is. But it did not take long before I was fully invested in this film. It's it's absolutely wild and goes in all sorts of crazy directions. I just loved the chaos
Mm.
of this thing. It's also a send up of just how ridiculous everyone's behavior was during the pandemic, and how some of the divisions that grew up during that time based on weird things that, however artificial, absurd, a lot of those divisions kind of continue to today.
Mm.
Like, you see, even though it's set in that time, you can kind of see the origins of some just weird divisions. And so it's really kind of all about that. in just a big chaotic mess of a film that I just thought was hilarious and interesting, and I just loved every minute of it.
Mm. Yeah, it's another one that completely passed me by, but I will have to get on it because I am an Ari Aster completist, and as you say, kind of hit or miss. But when he
Yeah.
hits, he really fucking hits. So yeah, I don't have anything to add. So, but definitely adding Eddington to the list. All right, so we're down to number four, and my number four is Superman.
Ah, okay.
Do you have that on your list?
I don't. No.
Okay. Man, you're such a snob.
I know I've really gone like snobbish movies here. Yeah, because I thought we were doing 10 best and you did 10 favorites. So, but it makes for, yeah, different lists, which is good actually, instead of us just naming the same movies over and over again.
Yeah. So it's James Gunn's first entry into the new DC extended universe, and man, was it just knocked it out of the goddamn park, which he always did with Guardians of the Galaxy and anything before that. But so it's a straight reboot. Um, David Cornsweet stars as Superman, and our marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Rachel Brosnahan. She was amazing.
Yeah.
Nicholas Hoult, who we also love, was Lex Luthor. Did a great job, and Anthony Carrigan, Nathan Fillion, Isabel Merced, great cast, and then of course add a dog in there. You got Crypto.
Yeah, you got him done.
And it wasn't.
A very poorly trained dog.
Yes, and I really like that it wasn't just an origin story. Like, oh yeah, we know Clark Kent came from Krypton. I mean, Kal-El came from Krypton, became Clark Kent on this Kansas farm. Blah 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 blah. Like we all know, and I think that's what I like about the Batman as well. Is just like, okay, everybody on Earth knows this origin story, so let's just get into it. And so yeah, it was really sweet, and I think James Gunn did a really good job of capturing how Superman is trying to be human, like goes out of his way to be human. And there's an interesting aside that like there was a huge debate behind the scenes of whether he should wear his underwear on the outside or not, because like famously Zack Snyder had like the full blue like bodysuit on, but James Gunn was like, no, he needs to show that he's vulnerable and that he can relate to people. So that, yeah, just throw the underwear on the outside. Uh, but yeah, great.
That's what I'm gonna do when I walk outside tomorrow to show that I'm vulnerable and open to people.
But it was just such a sleek script. Not too many tangents. Every scene was either funny or sweet, or it introduced a whole host of characters that I had never really heard of, like Hawk Girl, and like I knew who Green Lantern was, but I tried to bury it because of Ryan Reynolds movie. But
It was a totally different take on Green Lantern from the
but
Ryan Reynolds one too.
just top to bottom, it was like what I want from a superhero movie when I walk into the theater, basically.
Yeah, Superman was it was a lot of fun. I think we've talked about this before, but I can't remember if it was just me and you talking about it or if we actually talked about it on the podcast. So forgive me if I'm repeating stuff that I've already said on the podcast. But the main problem with Superman throughout the years as a story is that Superman himself isn't that interesting.
Yes,
Generally,
yes.
he's a character that doesn't arc. He doesn't really change. He's just like this solid, mass that, is impenetrable, except if you happen to have some, you happen to have some kryptonite in your back pocket. What James Gunn did is make Superman interesting,
Mm-hmm.
the character of Superman interesting, and that's basically never been done before. And I like your parallel with the Batman, which was also quite good in that even though the Batman character was just kind of a entitled dweeb, but still a very interesting character.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it made for such a better film that the lead character, the protagonist, was somebody who we actually cared about what happened, and we could see his emotions, and we could see him struggling with whether or not he actually was a good person. That's kind of at the heart of what this movie was. And I think you're right. James Gunn just knocked it out of the park for a total reboot of the Superman franchise, take it in a different direction and do something interesting. And he absolutely did. And also, we should mention just the little coda at the end of the movie was Supergirl showing up and actually being the owner of crypto, which is just perfect, and her character. And now we have the first trailer out for Supergirl. And I'm just gonna say I'm all for it. Like
Oh
I've
yeah.
liked Millie Alcock since the first moment I saw her in House of the Dragon, and I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I cannot wait.
All right, number three for me, and I'm sure you have this on your list and maybe higher, is Sinners.
Oh, wow. Yes. Yeah, okay. I have it higher.
Okay, so we'll save the discussion then. All right. So what do you have at number three?
My number three. Yeah, we're going very kid-friendly heavy on this one. My number three is Lilo and Stitch.
I knew you were gonna have Lilo and Stitch on your list. I didn't expect it to be that high though. Wow. Okay.
So obviously, the live action remake of 2002's Disney hit Lilo and Stitch. One of the few movies this past year to pass 100 billion, I mean, 100, $1 billion, $100 billion.
Disney is now launched to take over a bit of everybody else.
And it's also the movie that won me the box office blockbuster draft this year.
Yes, it did.
But
Which I happen to forget until last week that I still need to get a trophy for him. So that will be coming for all you watchers who are like, where the fuck's this trophy? It's coming. I had just forgotten.
so I wasn't that big of a fan of the original Lilo and Stitch, really, but there's something about the performances of the live actors, specifically Maya Keloa and uh, Sydney Elizabeth Agnon,
Right.
and
Yeah.
the ending was changed like significantly, and I don't want to spoil too much, but like a lot of the fans of the original got super butthurt over the change of the ending.
Hmm.
But what do you want? Do you want a shot for shot remake?
Yeah. Exactly.
How to Train Your Dragon, the remake was on my short list, but it's basically the same exact
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, if do you want the change? I mean, it's not like they
Just with an
changed.
actor whose voice isn't as interesting as Jay Baruchel,
Yeah,
basically. So yeah.
but yeah, I was a mess. Like I went with my I went with my mom and my niece to see this in over the summer, and I was sobbing at the end. And it's the way that the how the CGI Stitch and how we've come so far in technology, that the way these interact the way that he's able to interact with the live actors, and then the
Mhm.
live actors reaction to him in the climax, which I'm not going to get into. But yeah, just it was an amazing film, and much more heartrending than the original, in my opinion.
This is so I came into this, I'd never seen the original, so I came into this just clean slate. I didn't know the subject matter, so I had no issues with the ending or anything like that. And I also didn't manage to see it in the theater, so I saw it just when it came out on Disney Plus. So unfortunately, I missed out on some of the big screen experience. But I agree, this was a very heartfelt movie. And you're right, the way that the acting and the interacting with the CGI is going these days, and especially for the young girl, because you think about, this is a little behind the scenes, but you think about what's going on in filming. She's basically filming to essentially a tennis ball on a stick, and she's interacting with that. And for her to be doing that, and really make these scenes so emotional, as you say, it's pretty impressive and very impressive child acting from her. And you're right. This was a very fun, enjoyable family movie, and Yeah, I knew that you had liked it, and then when I finally saw it when it came on Disney Plus, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see why you like this so much. This is a good movie. Okay, so we're up to my number two. My number two is Sentimental Value. So this is a movie that I mentioned a bunch last week because of some of the amazing acting performances. It's a film by Norwegian director Joachim Trier. The movie is in both Norwegian and English. It kind of switches between the two depending on who's in the scene and various other things. It stars Stellan Skarsgård, who at this point I think we just have to recognize as one of the greatest actors of his generation. Like he's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, Renata Reinsve, Elle Fanning, and Inga Ibdater Lilias.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I don't know if that's right at all.
It
The
sounds
middle the
good.
middle name actually sounds Icelandic, the daughter, but yeah, she's Norwegian as well. And so yes, this is a movie about film and Hollywood, and this obviously isn't Hollywood. It's European. People like to make film about film,
Mm,
and like Skarsgård's character is a director, Ryan and Fanning's characters are actresses, but it's really about fascinating family dynamics and the ways to find like common grounds for communication between people and also kind of what forgiveness means. Um, and I don't want to go too much, we're trying to stay away from spoilers here because these are all fairly new movies. It's also a really interesting look at time. Like the movie starts out and there's a bit of a voiceover and it's like the biography of a house
mm.
and the people who have lived in the house and what's gone on over time and kind of the different lives that have been lived in that house. And so it's just a fascinating framing mechanism for the story that's essentially a family drama. And then just amazing performances and just yeah, this movie is amazing.
Hmm. Yeah, this doesn't sound like these movies are related at all, but that almost reminds me of Mother from Darren Aronofsky. It's just like the history of a house, but that's not
Mm,
obviously it has nothing to do with sentimental value. And
right.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know. So
Yeah.
another one. I've all of yours written down as to put on the queue now. All right, so now we're down to number two,
Hmm.
and it's Hamnet for me.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm actually kind of
This
surprised.
this is my number one, which comes next. So let's
Okay,
let's
okay.
get into it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it's yeah
Yeah,
we have
we're down to each of our number ones.
yeah
So
we have Hamnet and Sinners just switched.
yeah.
Okay, and I grappled with this because I just was able to see Hamnet a couple hours ago, and
I'll be honest, my top three, I went back and forth a million times and I had them in different orders. So Hamnet, Sentimental Value, and Sinners, I had them at various times in all three orders. It's pretty much interchangeable. I think these are the three best movies of the year.
all right, so I'll just you can take Hamnet after I'm just because
Please. Yeah.
I literally saw this just a couple hours ago,
Yeah, I want to hear
and
the fresh take.
yeah, and I didn't want to be a prisoner of the moment and just immediately put it at number one, but it might be after I've only had like 2 or 3 hours to marinate on it. But my God, it was such a powerful movie. I was so just blown away by the direction, the performances, the way that Chloe Zhao, the director, used like all natural lighting,
Mm.
the long shots that just kind of lingered enough. Every moment was able to breathe. Man, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it because again, I just saw it, so a very, very emotional experience, and it was the way it was lit and shot almost was very Robert Eggers esque, except it wasn't as dark as his subject matter is there are a lot of lots of dark shit, don't get me wrong, but it was just very it was more emotional than like a Robert Eggers movie. And man, yeah, you were right, man. Paul Mescal can actually act.
The dude can act. Yeah.
Oh man, uh Jesse Buckley, a revelation,
Yeah. Yeah.
just absolute revelation.
Yeah. I've
But
got her as the front runner for Best Actress Oscar at this point.
I really hope so. At least I haven't seen the movies that you've illustrated here, but yeah, as far as what I've seen, yeah. So yeah, you take it away.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah, you give the sort of instant reaction, emotional reaction, which is fantastic. Just for anybody who hasn't seen the film, I'll fill in some of the a little few of the details. So this is by filmed by Chloe Zhao, who won the Oscar for No Man Land. So you know, a pretty accomplished filmmaker.
Did she win for Three Billboards?
No, Nomadland was her first
Oh,
movie.
right, right. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean to throw you off track.
And it was based on a book by Maggie O'Farrell, who also helped adapt the screenplay with Chloe Zhao. And yeah, Jesse Buckley, Paul Mescal, Joe Alwyn, and Emily Watson star in this. And so yeah, without we don't want to give too much away, but you can get this from the trailer that really at its heart, it's a movie about dealing with grief and loss and how that means different things for different people. And it's interesting that you mentioned Paul Eggers. I think actually I said to you that my description of this was it's as if Robert Eggers did Shakespeare in Love. But maybe that does a
Yes.
disservice. That probably does a disservice to Chloe Zhao, because who's
Yeah.
obviously an incredible director in her own right. So maybe we don't even need to get Robert Eggers into this. And it is just a beautiful, heartbreaking film. And anyone who listened or watched our episode last week about our favorite acting performances of the year, the kind of final scene in this movie and Jesse Buckley's performance there, where she's just watching something. Again, trying to avoid spoilers. She's just watching something. And what goes on in her, without even really saying anything or much, as she's taking all this in and understanding a bunch of different things and her reaction to that those like 10 minutes are just an acting masterclass, just spectacular.
Yeah. I mean, uh and even Joe Alwyn was really amazing. I've only seen him in three things. That's who plays Jesse Buckley's brother, but he's really like a pillar of the movie. Like
Yeah.
he's always very stalwart. I've seen him in three things. I've seen him in FX's A Christmas Carol, where he plays Bob Cratchit, which is amazing if you haven't seen it, because it's a very very dark version of A Christmas Carol with with a Guy Pearce as Scrooge. Um, the second one is he was a bit character in The Brutalist from last year, and then this. So yeah, very capable actor in his own right as well. And my God, yeah, the performances were just spellbinding. So
That takes us to your number one, my number three. And as I said, yeah, could have been in any order.
yep, Sinners. We've been talking about this one since it came out in April, and it still holds up. I've only seen it. I saw it in theaters once, and again on home video. Not home video. What the fuck am I talking about? On streaming. Yeah, we
You
talked
got
about.
you got the DVD in the mail from Netflix, this company that sends movies out.
Yeah, we talked about it last week as well with our favorite performances. Michael B. Jordan in a dual role, Haley Steinfeld, directed by and written by Ryan Coogler. Just great. Uh, again, okay, trying not to spoil it, okay, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't even know what it was about the first time I went in to see it, so I don't know how much people have been revealed, how much information has been revealed to the public or not. But yeah, just phenomenal movie, phenomenal performances. Takes place in the deep South in the 20s, where Delta blues were just really taking off, and some supernatural shit happens, and it pops off, and it's such a wild ride. Probably not just the one of the best movies of the year, but also one of the most entertaining, and that's hard to make those two go together.
Absolutely. For anybody who wants a more in-depth discussion about this movie, we talked about it. I think it was our April 25th episode where we talked about this movie and then did an overview of Ryan Coogler's career to that point.
Hmm.
Very, very fun. It's again, yeah, trying to avoid spoilers, but I think generally you can talk about things that are pretty evident from the trailers. And so if you've seen a trailer from this, it is going in, I thought it was maybe a vampire movie from the trailers. And it kind of is, but it really isn't. It's so much more than that. The story was so interesting and entertaining. The music, as you say, was just absolutely amazing. There's a fantastic capper at the end where Buddy Guy, one of the blues legends for anybody who's still alive, for anybody who doesn't know blues music. Um, he shows up as one of the characters, but more than that, as you say, that like the themes were just really important, excuse me, and sophisticated in what could have just been an entertaining vampire-ish movie set in the 1920s. And it's so much more than that. We talked about this back in April, but it's really a movie kind of about black ownership and white appropriation of different things, including music. And it's so, as you say, yeah, it's just both an extremely entertaining movie and a very thematically resonant movie. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, and Christopher Nolan, one of the best directors we have right now, he called Sinners the uh, the sequence where there's a bunch of Irish people singing the Rocky Road to Dublin. He said it was the most spectacular, I want to get this quote right, the most spectacular musical inversion since Kubrick's Singing in the Rain and Clockwork Orange. And if you know Clockwork Orange, where he's singing in the rain while he's raping somebody, is yeah, it's high praise.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, put this back on.
All right, so that covers it all, right?
That covers everything.
Okay.
Those are our top 10 lists that actually ended up being quite a bit more different than I thought they'd be because yeah, we had different ideas of what the lists were, but that's great actually. We talked about a lot more movies.
Yep. All right, so yeah, that's it for us for 2025. We're gonna take Christmas off because that falls on a Thursday, and we always record on Thursday, so we're gonna take Christmas off and spend it with our family and friends, and we'll see you in 2 weeks on well, we'll record it on National Hangover Day, which is of course New Year's Day.
So we'll see
So
how slow we are. Yeah. We
yeah.
should also just one programming note. We should also say when we get into 2026, we've decided because we've got some other projects that we want to both be working on, we're gonna go down to every 2 weeks. So hopefully that just gets people even more jazzed to come and listen to us talk about movies every 2 weeks instead of every week. But we're still excited to do this, and we'll be, as you say, back right away in the new year.
Yep. So in the new year, we're gonna the yeah. So when we record on New Year's Day, we're gonna be talking about our favorite, our the things we're most excited about 2026 coming up.
Time
And
to look forward. Yeah.
yep. Stay jolly, my friends. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. We'll
Yeah.
see you in
Merry Christmas,
2026,
Happy
everybody.
Hanukkah, Happy holidays, everyone.